Today, we're going to be reacting to the worst rap takes that we've ever seen, and a lot of these are fucking atrocious. I don't know what Ant brought in. He doesn't know what I brought in, but let's start off with the first one. Kanye West is not good.
Okay, was this someone that just sent that through within like a comment section, or was that something?
It was on Reddit, and I love these because it's a foolish statement that has no explanation. And if you genuinely believe this, I think that you should, call your ear doctor or help yourself. Get a Q-tip and remove the layers of wax in your fucking ears.
Yeah,
bro.
I don't know.
Just go ham in there.
How could you
do
go?
What you gotta
how
do.
could you go through the life of Pablo or even Yeezus? The college dropout, MBDTF, graduation, late registration. I just named fucking 6 albums and tell yourself, hey, this guy's not a good artist. Plus, one of the most influential of our generation. I mean,
one of the best discographies in all of music.
Some of the best production you'll ever find within the genre. Not only that, but he is one of the best producers ever within the genre. At least in my opinion. You could obviously have your list, but I think like objectively speaking, that's just a bad take. You can't be saying that about a legendary artist. And regardless of what you think about recent quality, right? Because there's a conversation about Don the Two.
Oh,
Jesus
fuck
is
that.
king.
Let's not ignore the decades that he's been running shit for.
Absolutely. Not only that, but what he brought to the table is really massive when it comes to the genre as a whole. And not only that, but music as a whole. So I think that's a bad take, but I have a screamer for you. Okay, listen to this one, all right? And I had to screenshot this when I saw it because I think maybe this is bait. I'm not sure. You guys let me know how you feel about this one. Some kid told me that Tom MacDonald was better than Kendrick Lamar. His reasoning was that Kendrick Lamar lacked versatility. Listen, I'm not a fan of Tom MacDonald's music, but I mean, if you're comparing him to one of the best rappers to ever do it and saying that one of the best rappers to ever do it is not versatile or is not, unique in style and production and whatever else he brings to the table, that is not a good take. That's a horrible take, and I do not agree with that whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Tom's music either. I mean, it's edgy. It's not really quality, to be honest. Like, really awful, bro. It's a
really,
horrible comparison.
No,
it
is a horrible comparison. Even like, let's say you want to talk about rapping ability versus production. Kendrick has the catalog. He has the influence. He has better writing. He has better production. His feature game is stronger. He's been doing this at a higher level than Tom has for a much longer.
Yeah, there's no explanation
There's
needed,
literally
bro.
Not a single explanation. Do you think a lot of these takes just come out of people trying to bait people?
Some people are trolling, but I think some people genuinely do have these opinions, which is pretty crazy. But next up, if a rapper has Lil in their name, they're trash.
No, come on. What does that even mean, bro? There's so many.
Are we gonna call
rappers.
Lil Wayne, Lil Kim, Lil Jon, Lil Baby, Lil Uzi Vert, Lil Durk? Are we gonna name all these rappers and call them shit?
No, but I think that's just a stereotypical opinion about rappers as a whole. Like they'll still do Lil in front of them and be like, oh, they only rap about like drugs, money, and women. And it's kind of like, have you ever gone through their music and really given it a chance? Like I think that when you start to put stereotypes like that to the music, it kind of blocks you from enjoying catalogs. Like imagine not wanting to go into an artist's music because he has a Lil in his name. Like
yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say?
But it's kind of become like a staple in hip hop culture to like have that Lil in front of your name, and it also comes with expectations. For some people, it's to be a great lyricist like Lil Wayne. For other people, it's to fit into that new school wave where there's not much substance, but to kind of generalize it and see that everybody with
that's
Lil,
a horrible take.
Really bad take, but what do you have next?
Well,
bro?
I just want to add one last thing before we go on to my next one, and this next one's really bad. Do you think it's maybe the Lil Pump and Lil Xans of the industry that have kind of given it like a little
that
moniker?
clouds the judgment for sure.
But I mean, you can't say anything about that, right?
Well,
like,
their music isn't good, so I mean,
it's not good. But I mean, you can't fucking stick a whole generation of rappers and say they're back because they have the same name. But okay, my next one is very interesting. This guy said one of the worst rap takes he's ever seen, and this comes again from Twitter from someone called Andre. Thank you so much for sending this in. Rolling Stone ranking Invasion of Privacy as the 16th best hip-hop album of all time. Do you think that's one of the worst takes you've ever seen?
I don't even think it's a real take. To be honest with you, I think it was just for clicks. I
I
think they wanted to get clicks on their site, bro, and I think it worked because it stirred controversy fucking everywhere. And it's pretty mind-blowing to see the albums that were placed behind it. Like
what do we have behind? Yeah, Illmatic was behind Invasion of Privacy. That's bad.
An
That's
album
really
like
bad.
a classic album from Drake, like Nothing Was the Same, didn't even crack the top 200. And then you have Cardi B's Invasion of Privacy. Like I said, I think it was just to stir up the pot, bro, and there's no validity behind it. If you ask any hip-hop fan who's really studied the genre and done their homework, it's not even the best album of that fucking year.
No, absolutely, for sure. And like you could even make an argument and a claim that it shouldn't won the album of the year as far, what was that, 2019?
2019 Grammys?
Yeah, 2019 Grammys. So it was a year ahead. So yeah, when I had seen that, I'm like, fuck, that's true though, because that is one of the worst takes I've ever seen from an official publication. Like imagine being being the owner of that publication and seeing that type of statement going out, like, that's bad, bro. Like, that's, listen, you're like, Rolling Stones lists like go down in history for, like, you know, let's say music archives.
Oh, fuck that, bro.
But I mean, like,
I'm not taking them seriously.
No, but you don't have to take them seriously, but they're Rolling Stone, you know, like, they have a massive global brand and they have a mass appeal and have a massive
the credibility
influence.
has clearly gone down over the years.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is that,
especially when it
like,
comes to hip-hop.
how do you let that type of writing go out? And even at that, when you go through the descriptions of why they think invasion of privacy has that much influence, whatever it is, it doesn't necessarily even make sense. But okay, next one, man. What do you got, bro?
Next one. This one comes to us from Joe Budden, who said this during a live podcast. Logic is one of the worst rappers to grace a microphone. And this one's frustrating to me just because I get it. Logic's releases have been inconsistent in the 2010s decade. He'll go from dropping an amazing farewell album like No Pressure to dropping a train wreck of a project like Bobby Tarantino 3. But to question this man's rapping ability is fucking nonsense,
No, it is
bro.
nonsense.
Because this is a guy that is literally a walking hip-hop encyclopedia, and he's worked alongside greats like Eminem, Black Thought, Royce the 5'9", and hasn't gotten eaten up in those times. Not only that, but if you look at some of this material, if you want the evidence, go to songs like Street Dreams 2. Go to songs like
Nicki,
Run It, Nicki, Gang Related.
Under
There's
Pressure,
so many to go through.
GP4, like, there's so many great songs that come into mind when thinking about Logic. And I think that a lot of... I'm not sure if it's just a product of people having platforms, but I mean, okay, like, coming out and saying that he's the worst rapper to ever grace a microphone is really not a great take, because Joe Budden was a great lyricist himself back then. He was a fantastic writer, and as a fantastic writer, you should be able to recognize other great writers. And to call Logic a shit rapper is horrible.
There's a massive line of people that would be in front of Logic for that worst rappers of all time.
Absolutely,
song,
he's one of the best penmen in our generation, you know, bringing back that. Not only that, but you think No ID would collaborate with one of the worst rappers of our generation? Of course not. No, like, that's not happening whatsoever.
This is a guy that's you know, had Wu-Tang reunions on his albums. Like, how are you going to question that?
Classic mixtape series is fantastic studio albums. I don't think that's a good claim. Okay, listen to this next one. This comes to us from Jake, and this is his hot take, all right? Hot take, Lil Wayne has really forgettable music, and I don't agree with that one. Come on, man, you have a whole catalog to go through. Where do you want to start?
Me,
Dedications, Carters, No Ceilings? What do you want to start with? The Drought series? Where do you want to go? Sorry for the wait. I mean, just talking about Wayne's imprint on hip-hop alone, I mean, it's completely
his
invalid.
charisma, bro, his track presence. I
Absolutely.
mean, this is someone that never bores you when he's on the mic. This is someone that has freestyled a lot of his own material and has come out of those tracks getting fucking rewarded by the entire hip-hop public for how crazy his bars and his punchlines are. Like, he's never really had a dull song, to be honest with you. He's had weak tracks, but there's always an energy when Lil Wayne's performing.
Not only that, but when you want to talk about wordplay and what type of charisma he brings to the microphone, very few people in front of him started rapping at a ripe age of, like, 13, 14, 15, like those adolescent stages, has the longevity to back it. Still, now that he's, let's say, past his prime, you could say, right? Still one of the most sought after featured artists for albums. You have everyone calling him. Not only that, but if you look at the influence of his music, okay, so if it's forgettable, then how has he influenced the whole fucking generation coming through in this 2010 decade, bleeding into the 2020 decade? And he hit his prime at the end of the 2000s decade. That's what doesn't make sense to me. Plus, if you want to talk about the best mixtape artist of all time, I think he's there, and behind him, I think it's 50 Cent. So, I mean, where does the forgettable come out of? Like, I'm not forgetting
fucking
D4.
horrible.
I'm not forgetting No Ceilings. I'm not forgetting the Drought 3 or the Carter 3. So I found that absolutely
really
ridiculous.
atrocious one. But what about this next one I got for you? All
let's
right,
go to this.
Lil Yachty sounds like Kermit the Frog, and I cannot unhear it.
No, come on.
And I feel like Yachty just gets unnecessary hate. And to be honest with you, I've never really heard Kermit's vocal inflections within Yachty's music. And, like, if anything, I don't know if you ever saw when Jamie Foxx did his impressions of, like, Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
But he then transitions from Kermit the Frog to Jay-Z. And I feel like, if anything, Jay-Z sounds a bit more like Kermit the Frog in terms of the vocal tone. But label Yachty as someone that sounds like Kermit?
No, for sure. But I think it's also someone trying to make fun of, like, Yachty's music and trying to play jabs at him, and I don't think that's cool whatsoever. And it kind of plays back to the whole Logic take that Joe Budden had. It's like, where are you going after the artists themselves? You know, if you have something to say about an artist, you know, go for the material, critique the material. But just to say, oh, he sounds like this, to be able to create some amusement, I think that makes for horrible takes, and they're uneducated. Plus, like, even the whole thing about Yachty's, quality of music. Okay, yes, I may not gravitate towards his sound as much as other people, but dude, this guy's had a consistent fan base now for close to half a decade. Like he's still selling out shows, bro, and getting booked for festivals, and people are buzzing over his music. Not only that, but what he's done also for the fashion game and bringing that into hip hop and what he brings as far as a fresh new look and collective from himself. Fuck, dude. Like, I don't even know why you would go after Yachty like that and say that. Well, anyways, whatever. Okay, I got one last one for you. Okay, listen to this one. This one, I really don't know how someone would be able to tweet this or say this. Someone said Doom doesn't have an album above a 6. That's a really bad fucking take. I think all of his albums are above an 8, bro, to be honest with you, or even like near perfect.
And it's actually crazy just because Doom has multiple masterpieces under different rapper names.
Exactly.
That's what's pretty crazy. If you're looking at Victor Von Vaudeville Villain, if you're looking at Food, if you're looking at Mad Villainy, Operation Doomsday, like this guy has, if you're looking at, let's say, the rappers that have the most classic albums in their catalog, Doom is probably in the top 10 or top 15.
Not only that, but some of the best beat selections of all time. He has a fantastic ear for production, and his duality as a rapper and producer comes out in a lot of his projects. I love the visions and like the soundscapes and environments that he builds within his albums because they're so creative and they're so unique to what's already in hip hop. And like even talking about what MF Doom's done, he's inspired a whole fucking generation of rappers just from the underground scene, if you still want to call it underground at this point. Like not only that, but you have some of the best projects ever released in hip-hop within his catalog. Even talking about Mad Villainy or Food, like going through those projects and saying that's below a 6, I don't understand what you're listening to, because that's some of the best rapping and production you'll ever get within the genre.
Absolutely.
So that's my take
MF
on
Doom
that
definitely has albums in that top 100 greatest albums of all time.
Multiple.
He's got a couple in there. So horrible take. What about this next one? This one's gonna get a lot of people fucking pissed, myself included. This comes from Ben Shapiro, who tweeted this back in 2012. Fact. Rap isn't real music, and if you think it is, you're stupid. And just to give some context, Ben has been championing the idea that rap isn't real music for years and years now, and he went on to say that his father went to music theory school and that he and his father share the same views, and he says that music has 3 components. It has rhythm, it has melody, and it has harmony, and that rap only fulfills the rhythm section of music, which is absolutely fucking horrible just because we have a whole genre in today's hip-hop that is for melodic rap. Not only that, but if you trace it back to hip-hop's origins, you always had guest vocalists that were bringing melodies throughout hooks. You have the sounds of melodies throughout synthesizers used in production. I mean, I just think that it's an atrocious take, and I think that it's coming from an uneducated point of view. I don't think that he's listened to enough hip-hop based on what he's saying to make this fucking claim.
Like, how would you be able to go through the miseducation of Lauryn Hill and say that there's no no melodies in there? Like that's an atrocious take. Like, okay, maybe you could say like rapping and just the sheer rap and like just laying down rhymes itself, no production and back, maybe okay. I don't even know where that comes
that. You can't make that argument.
Because the melodies are actually coming from
Think about how many rapper singers there are in today's era, bro.
Like, okay, go listen to something like Speaker Box. Listen to Speaker Box, and that's a rap album, well, double-sided disc, and obviously the second one is more southern rap influenced, while Andre did his thing on the first half. You'll find everything you want as far as music within projects like that. Even listening to old albums like The Score, listening to Kanye albums like, let's say, early College Dropout.
808s and Heartbreak.
Bro, for sure. There's so many people that have come through and done, everything you could possibly do in music through rap albums and formats. If anything, I find rap a perfect genre to be able to encompass all sounds of music, to be able to blend them into one. Like, there's rappers out there that are incorporating, let's say, rock progression within their stuff. Example, someone like Coleman, he's building pure compositions out of his project, out of his beats that he's sending off to different producers. I was talking about it with him yesterday. Like, to be uneducated to the point where you write off a whole genre with thousands of releases to say that it's not music is definitely not a good take from me. But do you have anything else?
I have one more, all right? So this one comes to us from Elijah on Twitter, and he says, Drake's Certified Lover Boy and Jack Harlow's Come Home, the Kids Miss You are masterpieces. That's steamy, bro.
That's a tough one.
That's too steamy for me.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. CLB is a good album. I just think that it's definitely not a masterpiece. You want to go to a masterpiece in his catalog, you have a lot of them in there. You got Take Care.
I wouldn't say you have a lot of them. I'd say you have a couple of them. I think you have a couple of masterpieces.
You have 3, probably. You have Nothing Was the Same. You have Take Care. And then after that, maybe you could say if you're reading this, it's too late.
Arguable, yeah.
So I'd say you do have a good amount in there. And then Come on, the kids miss you. I mean, I'm not sure what you were listening to, but that was a really empty album. Like, no offense to Jack, because I still do think he could bounce back, but that's a really
the
disappointing
catchiest
release.
tunes and melodies on Jack's album came from the vocal samples on songs like First Class or Side Piece. Those were the most like appealing aspects of that album.
Not
to
only
me.
that, but I think the best rapping performance on that album as well was Drake himself on Churchill Downs. I mean, even what Jack was trying to... Well, I'm going to give Jack credit where it was due. I do like something like Nail Tech. I think that had a lot of energy and bounce to it. I'm not going to discredit that song. Like, there's definitely highlights within there, but you go through the rest of the track list and it was a really poor attempt. And it's not a knock towards Jack as a rapper or an artist. I just think that moving forward, there has to be more cohesion throughout the project. Like, he's a good rapper. He could do it, but there has to be more effort, within that track.
He's got to cut out the cheesy, seductive lines, bro. Like,
the sweet,
I'm gonna fuck the earrings off of you. I mean, providing women with sweet semen. Like, come on, Jack. We're not trying to hear this, fam.
But the thing is that Jack, I could kind of understand where it comes from, because Jack does appeal to like a whole different audience.
A masterpiece?
No, it's not a masterpiece. No. That's why it's a bad take. Okay, so let me ask you a question now. Okay, so we're at the end of our takes. What do you think was the worst take we heard today?
The worst take, I think it's Kanye not making good music.
And the Kanye's not
that
making
one
music.
Or rap not being real music.
Yeah, those ones.
What about you?
I would probably have to say the Doom not having over a 6, to be
That's
honest.
rough too.
That's a really rough take. Like, you're talking about one of the best rappers to ever do it, and like his imprint on hip hop. And then I'd probably say the Tom McDonald one too. That made me definitely double take. But guys, in the comment section, let me know, what is the worst take you have ever seen, and let me know, do you guys agree with our takes on these takes? Thank you guys so much for watching this. We really appreciate you, and we're going to have a load of content coming out. So if you have not subscribed already, please do so. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and we'll catch you in the next one.